more quick intro of myself. I'm Ruslana. I'm co-founder and brand manager at VP Production Audio Agency, and I manage our company's brand. I create sonic identities like with our team, and I provide marketing expertise in the projects, in game projects where we create game audio, which is music, sound effects, and voiceovers. And I'm quite integrated in our all of our projects, and I know quite a few things about audio development process, and that's what I'm going to share with you today. I will share with you my knowledge of how to create excellent game audio without it being a pain in the ass. So to be clear, you can't actually create something excellent without putting a decent amount of thoughts and time in it, but you can really systemize everything and find the best way to optimize the process, so it will be much more easier and much more clear what to do. So that's what I'm going to share with you today. And yeah, let's start, shall we? So our step-by-step guide will start with this first step, which is do your marketing homework. And yeah, I'm a marketer, so what else I might say, but this is crucial because not only for your game audio that you will create, but for every little bit of your project, because this is what defines how you do what you basically do, and you need to choose some things that will become like the overall vector of your game development, and you need to create some sort of of marketing kit. And it might be easier than you think, and I don't know, there is not an ultimate guide of how to do that, but I will share with you how I would do such a document, so it will be really helpful for your project. So start with writing down what your game is all about, like setting, story, characters, etc. You know this the best, I believe, from all the people, but keep it short though, so and really clear, so any person, even a child or your grandma would understand what it's all about. Next thing you need to do is to study up your competitors. You need to do this actually so you can define the features that will make you different from them, that will make your product different from them. And for this, you need to actually go on stores and look for some projects in a specific genre you're working on, maybe some popular projects that gained a lot of success, or even for some projects that you drew inspiration from while creating your own one. And you need to pay attention for lots of things, but I believe that these four are the most important. You need to actually download those games and play them, and pay attention to the overall impression of the gaming experience they are giving you. And you also need to note each and everything that catch your attention, either good or bad thing, it all counts. And next thing you want to do is to go again on stores and check the players' reviews and the most common things they bring up, again, either good ones or bad ones. And also you need to analyze promo materials of your competitors' projects and the way they communicate with their audience. This will give you an idea about your overall marketing position and all this stuff. And when you get this clear picture of what your competitors are doing, you can understand their strong and weak spots. You can actually see more clearer and obvious what your key features are. And the next thing you want to do is to make a list of those features that make you different. And this will be the exact features that you will use to grab the audience attention and then keep them interested. And speaking of audience, you need to define your target audience. I believe this was said like enormous amount of times during GDBAY Grand Opening, as I seen the previous speeches, but I will say this once again. You need to understand who your audience is, and the best practice is to define your audience's pains and then bring them some solutions with your product. And yeah, as you can understand, you need to go a little bit further and deeper than just defining like female 35 plus, because this will not give you any information at all. And to study up your audience, you need like to do some, again, take some time and do some research. And for that, you want to, again, go on your competitors' games pages and once again, look through reviews on those games and understand what kind of people write those reviews, what kind of people have like certain problems, or again some maybe solutions that they gain from playing those games. And next thing you want to do is to search for some researchers on Google. There are quite a few of them. There are several, like hundreds of reports each year on players, on like gaming industry in general. So yeah, be sure to check them out also. And also one like sneaky thing you can do is to go on like socials and other platforms like on forums or Discord servers to find relevant communities and to analyze people there. So yeah, you can find some common things. And like you will end up with an idea about who your gamer is, but this will be only an idea, like a really abstract one that you will need to test later. But even this abstract idea can straighten up your development vector, you know. So the last thing you want to do while creating this marketing basics document is to state your mission and define an experience a player will have from your game. For me, it's like the most essential thing in this document. This is a big why you're creating this game, why you're working on this, why you're putting so much effort in it. It has to be a simple idea that will tie up everything you're doing in your project. And this will not only help you put some depth in your project and to maybe motivate your team, but this will also help you see better if anything fits your game while like you create something. And this really has to be a really simple idea, like, you know, I want to help people fall asleep more quickly, or I want to help people connect with each other, and or something like this. Or even, you know, if you want to create a game to gain some money, like state this idea. There is nothing wrong with it, because if you state that I want to make this game to become rich, you're going to put even more energy in it, and you're going to choose the best quality like content for a game, the best quality ideas for a game, so the people will actually pay for it. So yeah, to recap, this is step one: do your marketing homework. This is all steps we've just talked about. And once again, I want to focus on this, because these marketing basics will like allow you to really understand what you are doing, and it will be also really useful when like pitching your game to a publisher, or like, you know, promoting this game on socials, or even hiring up like a PR team. This information will be really helpful during all the pipeline of your development. So yeah, this was our step one. After you created such a marketing document, it's not yet the moment to start working on your audio, because there, like, I believe that there is a perfect moment to start working on game audio, but it really depends on your project pipeline, your resources, etc. Because I know teams that started working on the music since the day one of the project development, but those teams had like a budget for it, and either it was like a trustworthy audio person in the team who could like start experimenting like since the very beginning of the project. And you can do this too, but you need to understand that you will have to reconsider lots of things like while moving on with your development, and there will be probably lots of fixes. And sometimes if you have some big changes in your project, you can, like, you risk end up with some generic music that will not be so like yummy for the final result. But to me, the best time to start working on a game audio is when you have at least defined concept and art style, because this will let you start working on music composing. This will be enough to start this process. As for sound design, you're gonna need a test build at least, or if some finished animations, because without that, you will get lost in those rounds of fixes and all this stuff. And for voiceover, it's like the last thing you want to do while developing the like your game. Sorry. Because for voiceover you need a really final polished script so you can rationally use your project budget. So okay, you have like defined concept and an art style. What you should do next is decide which tasks audio should perform in your game. And there are quite a few of them. You can choose one specific task for an audio, like in general, or you can choose a combination of them. You can choose several tasks for music only, and for sound design you can go with others. It's really up to you, but as I said, here are some examples. Like audio can reflect setting of the game, provide information to the player. It can set the atmosphere and mood, describe the character, tell the story, tell the part of story, and actually make your game memorizable. And it also can build the right associations. So you can choose whatever suits you best, and then you need to do that for each audio asset group, or like as I said, for each endeavor track. So it's up to you. But for this, you're going to need some systematic view of all the audio assets you have in your game. So moving on to the next step, which is create a technical task. This will make your life so much more easier. It's like this marketing document you've done on the first stage. This is like the basis for amazing like audio development process, because this is what gathers all the information. Is the most important resource of the project. And to do this, it's actually, once again, easy. You just need to invest some time in it. And you need first make a list of all audio assets your game needs. And again, you can do this better when you have at least like a test build, or you have animations, so you get like you have this idea of what you actually need. And next, you want to divide this list into three categories, main categories, which are music, sound effects, and voiceover. And for music and sound effects, you need to name each audio asset, then briefly describe it, and not forgetting about the task that it should perform on the project. You need to specify the required duration, whether it's a loop, and you need to give the reference to it and attach some visuals that are linked to this specific asset. For music, it can be anything, basically. It can be a concept art, it can be like location art, it can be characters design. So yeah, you need to attach that. And for sound effects, you need to go with animations, like, or a video of a gameplay, so something that give the person who will be working on this an idea what is happening and how it should sound. And for voice actors, so basically for voiceover, you need to specify the characters' names, their gender, description, language, accent, and the number of words for recording. And you need to also attach the link to the final script. So yeah, it will be easier for them to find those like lines they need to record. And I will show you very quickly our template of the technical task, which we use for years now. And just to give you an idea of how it can look like. And yeah, if you want to get this presentation, you just ping me or Stan, and I will provide you with this presentation, and there is a link to this technical task in it. So yeah, you can use it freely for your projects. So here we have like the first page with the overall description of the project. Actually, it's a fictional project, so there is no information disclosure. So here we have yeah, an overall description. Here we have all the content that need to be created for this specific project, which is music divided by themes, sound design divided by the categories of sound effect, of sound design, like groups of sound designs. It's sound effects, like it's basically a sound, you know, like broken glass or something like this. It's ambience, which are environment sounds. It's like complex sounds. So yeah, that you hear like everywhere. And jingles, which are like short musical phrases, you know, for example, the fanfares when you win something, yeah, or something like this, yeah. And for voiceover, you have like several languages to create voiceovers. And on the page with music, there is everything that I've just talked about. So there you have like a track's name, you have a description. In description, there is like a task that it should perform. It's stated here as well. Here, I want to make it memorable so that it can be associated with our game. We need to come up with some motive. So it's for main theme, so it's the task of the main theme. And here you have the duration, whether it's a loop, a reference, we're going to talk about this in a minute, and like status and comments or feedback. And for sound design, it's basically the same thing, except for a link to the animation. And yeah, the names aren't so fancy here. So, and either way, it's the very same thing. Also, you have a type of sound effect here. And for voiceovers, it's, oh, there is something. So yeah, you have the very same structure. So yeah, it's basically that easy. So you need to just really invest some time in creating this document. And yeah, about references, I know that for some people it's quite an intimidating process to choose a reference, so I will just talk you through this process very quickly, because it's actually pretty much easy. And if you can't do this, you should not be afraid to ask an audio expert you're going to work with to do this together, because it can help to break an ice between you. And yeah, you can just start development from this point, but you can also do this by your, like, on your own. First of all, you need to trust your personal preferences while choosing a reference, because you are the one who knows like all about your game, you know it the best, and you already have some set of music associations deep down in your brain, so you just need to pull them out. But you need to stay objective. However, you need to understand if this reference matches all those ideas you stated in your marketing document, etc. Next thing you want to do while choosing a reference is to look for projects with a similar theme, mood, and atmosphere. And you can go beyond only game projects. You can choose a movie or a cartoon or like any sort of animation as a reference. You just need to go like for similar atmosphere, basically. And last way is a little bit deeper, because here you need to pick up something that matches the central emotion of your projects. And here you actually have like no boundaries at all. And this will help you to create something more like outstanding. And for example, you're creating like a horror game, and you can actually go just with your old plain spooky ambient, like scary one on the background, but it won't be like too interesting for your game. So maybe your horror game bases on the story about some family drama. So you can, okay, you can think, okay, there is a family drama, there is some family relationships that I can express in the music. And you can go even, you know, with Interstellar as your music reference, but you need to state, of course, that it needs to be a little bit spookier if you want to, because this approach helps you to really add some depth into your like future music. As for example, in Silent Hill, while we love this music so much, why players love this music so much, because it's not just a spooky ambient. Yeah, there are some scary ambience in those albums, but this is a music with story like in the background. So yeah, just think outside the box. And to create such excellent music and basically any audio for your project, you need to choose the right specialist. And this what I really got so much questions like lately from developers, because especially the ones who started their like new companies or new projects, and they never had an experience with music composing and sound design like directly with those people directly. And they are so scared with this stage because they just don't know like what to look for, how to choose the right specialist. And so here I gathered some things you can rely on while choosing the right performer. But one thing I want to say right away is that you shouldn't do this solely relying on the price of somebody's services, because actually you can pay the same amount of money, let's say 5K, and with one person or team you're going to have like a smashing hit audio for your game, and with other you're going to end up with some shitty sounding soundtrack and sound effects. So yeah, don't look only on the price of one's services. You want to actually rely on previous clients' testimonials. This is the best way to find anyone in this industry, not just in this one. The best way is when you have your colleagues or friends or like any sort of specialist and in this community and this industry to advise you someone who they previously worked with, because this will already give you some like idea about the quality of service of that like person or team, and you will already like have an idea how the overall process might go. But next thing you want to do is to check the reviews from actual listeners, like of the work of that performer who was maybe advised to you. So you just once again go on stores and check the reviews, and you need to focus on reviews about this game audio, so you can really understand if this person or team can provide you with some quality product that will be loved by your audience. Finally, you need to check out the portfolio of the specialist. I advise you to focus on projects that have similar, again, themes or mood, or it's in the similar genre as your game. So you wanted to check them first. And the second thing you want to do is to see if somebody's work actually clicks with you, because if you don't feel the right way towards someone's music or sound effects, it won't probably work between you two. And I know this can sound funny, but the thing is that audio works on deeper emotional levels, and if you don't feel the right way towards someone's work, you shouldn't probably work with them. And next, you're going to proceed to the personal communication with the team or with the specific performer, and you need to understand the one's approach to work. Because if someone tells you that everything will be done within few days and it will cost you nothing or a really small amount of money, and this person doesn't even ask you some additional questions, I advise you to not work with such a person. You need to find someone who is truly interested in the success of your game. So yeah. And the last thing you want to check up to check is the quality of work of the performer. Again, this you can hear from the portfolio, or you can understand this from the personal communication when you ask to when you, for example, ask someone to show you some examples of their work, or you can understand this from the test task if there is any need to do that as well. And I will show you a quick example, like a comparison of two different levels of quality, so you can get a better idea. This is two tracks. This is music. This is not sound effects, because with some sound effects, it's much more easier for non-musicians to understand, is this a good sound effect or a bad one, because there you can hear how it works with the with your gameplay, and you can understand. And with music, I actually know some people, I personally know those people who paid a lot of money for music of not such a great level of quality. And to prevent you spending some fortune on something that should not cost this much, I will show you these two examples. So we'll start with that one that is much more lower quality. So yeah, here we go. It doesn't work. Okay, it worked previously. I don't know why it stopped. Just a second, I will try once again. I adore the thing when you try something out before the actual stream and then something doesn't work. We'll try again. Here we go. I will skip ahead. This piece, and here I will show you another one. I will start it the same way to prevent us from that it won't work. So as you could hear, it wasn't really interesting in terms of any musical vision, and it was really loud and messy. Here we have. you have these two tracks. There are in similar kind of mood and style. You know, it's both like epic orchestra and something like this. But the first one, it tracks some like cohesive vision. It lacks some production skills, so it's not that interesting. And this thing, the first track, it should cost less. So for such level of production, you actually don't have to pay really much money, you know. As for the second one, it's definitely a level up. It's not, you know, the highest level out there, because when you have like cinematic epic orchestras like by Hans Zimmer or Howard Shore, you know, it's not the highest quality out there. It's not the highest level, but this is a decent work. So for this, you can pay like more money, and yeah, just really listen to your references, listen to work that a performer shows you, and compare them, and understand that sometimes when people ask you for much money, sorry, it probably doesn't cost this much if this level of quality is similar to the first track that I have shown you. So yeah, moving on. Maybe there are any questions, then we are good to continue.
We are completely fine.
Great.
We are completely fine. So, and we have two comments. The first comment is, who's the composer of the first track? Because there is another word in the end of this question, and the question from Mai, who is the author of the second one?
Actually, these both tracks were composed by the same person, with a gap about like 6-year gap, so 6 to 7 year gap, and yeah, so I don't know if I can disclose like disclose this person. Maybe if this person is in chat, he will expose himself. So yeah, this is like, actually I couldn't provide you with like just random tracks out there and to diss someone and say, you know, this track is bad, because I'm trying to be a nice person out there. And yeah, this is the same composer that created.
Yeah, he revealed himself. It's okay.
So yeah, it's my partner, Vlad, and he was kind enough for me to diss him in my workshop. So yeah, thank you, Vlad. And I guess we're good to move on, then.
That's right.
Okay. Here you have step 5, evaluating the result. Because once you created your marketing document, your technical task, you provided, like you choose like the right performer or team, and you gave everything they need to create a good music and sound design and something else for your project, this is their turn to do all the mess, you know, to create an audio concept and provide you with some demos and all the stuff. And you can focus on other tasks of your project. But then comes the step 5, evaluate the result. And for this, I highly advise you to take all the audio assets that you will be provided with. It can be either demos or finished tracks, but even on demo stage, I advise you to implement those audio assets in your build. That's why when you create in sound design, you already need to have a test build. It's the best option. Or if there is no such a possibility, you can actually film the video of your gameplay, and you either can put those audio assets like into this video, or ask the audio person to do like this thing, because this will make everything much more like clear for you, and you will get a better idea of how everything is working together. If there is no like if there isn't any possibility of these two, which I highly doubt, but eventually you do you, I advise you, maybe like if it's a music composing stage and you don't have an actual build yet, you can listen to music while looking on concept arts, like characters art, and something like this, because you need to unite the visual aspect and the audio aspect of your game to understand if it works together. And you need to really listen carefully to everything and ask yourself like these three questions. And you can also go beyond that and ask your team these three questions, and ask a focus group these three questions, if you have one. So the first question is, do originally set tasks perform in the right way? So yeah, if the task of the music was to be memorable and like informative and to tell a story, you need to listen to that track and understand, do that stay in your like does this track stay in your head at least for a few minutes? Does it tell the story, how it works with the visuals, etc.? The next question you want to ask yourself is, does everything correspond to the setting, to the narrative, and the target audience? This is where you're going to need, once again, your marketing document to understand if it works like the way it should. And the last question is, does the audio evoke the right emotions and moods? And this, again, you can truly understand once you implement those audio assets in the build and have a true like or raw like gaming experience, some kind of. And if everything is fine and all the answers are yes, then I really glad for you, and you and your like performer, you did like a great job, and it's like a smashing hit. And if not, there are several possibilities that something could go wrong, but you actually need to give constructive feedback, formulate it first, and then give constructive feedback to your audio performer and discuss audio decisions. And you truly need to negotiate all this stuff, because sometimes there are situations when you imagined something in your head, how it would sound, and the person who works on music, for example, created something else with like from his or her point of view. And the first reaction you might get is, it's not the thing that I expected to hear. And you shouldn't decide too quickly on things, because yeah, it can be something like totally different, but it can work for your project. And you need to talk with the performer and ask about decisions this person made while creating like some assets. And if the person can provide you with some like arguments why they created several things, you can really reconsider how you feel about them, because you need to give not just one listen before deciding on things. And if something's still not great and the person can't explain why something sounds like this, you can eventually give a feedback on how to improve this. And you need to stay objective, and you need to stay like relying on the database you've compiled like on the pre-production stage, which is again the marketing document and the like technical task with all those references and things. You should appeal to the like, this isn't the task like that, like for example track performs, this should be this and this task. And yeah, you need to stay objective. And you need to always remember that if you create your game with some other people, it's not only like your product and your game and only your vision, because it's a teamwork. And for to teamwork to be like a great one, you need you need to set up like some limitations, which you do with all those documents, and then you need to choose some great performers and then let them do everything they want, like within these limits. And yeah, you don't need to stop the creative flow, you need to trust them. That's why it's so crucial to pick up the right people for your project. And after you evaluated everything and everything is good, you need to properly implement audio into the game. And I can't say enough how essential this step is, because our team learned this like the hardest way possible. Just a quick story. We like several years ago we worked on the project. Like it wasn't any like difficult project. It was a really fun. If I remember correctly, it was a fun match-free game. So it wasn't hard. It was really creative process, but there was a tight deadline, and the developers didn't want us to implement audio in the project. They wanted to do that by themselves. And we actually asked them to show us the final build before launching the game, but they never did. And actually we learned from socials that the project went live. And once we downloaded that and installed and started playing, it was such a bad experience. The audio wasn't implemented at all, and it sounded like horrific. It was like too quiet music with too loud random sound effects, and it was like overlaying with some jingles, and it was a mess. And once we learned that about that, we texted those developers asking like how we can help to fix that. And actually we learned that it was a programmer who was responsible for, I don't know, a code for a server part, you know, of the project. He was asked to implement music, and he knew nothing about this project, and he just threw all the audio assets into the game, and he was done, because he wasn't even, you know, pleased at the first he wasn't initially too happy to do this task. So yeah, I advise you to really delegate this task to people who do like audio implementation, like audio programmers, especially if you have like complex big projects, like, you know, 3D third person shooter multiplayer one, or, you know, like a Horizon Zero Dawn one, where they had, if I'm correct, 40 people for like music audio implementation only. But if you don't have such a big or complex project, you sure can do this yourself. At least you need to do this and configure some things right. And the bare minimum you really need to configure is on the screen. It's basically loudness balance, balance of frequencies, prioritizing of sounds, playback randomization, and transitions between sounds of events and modes. So here, yeah, you have this. If you did that right, you need to go to the next step. I will repeat once again about this implementation part. You can do this yourself. Like you need to configure right the bare minimum, which is loudness balance, balance of frequencies, prioritizing of sounds, playback randomization, and transitions between sounds of events or modes. And after you're good with this, you can proceed to testing your game and how everything sounds in there. So here you really has to do this First of all, on your own and together with your team, you need to listen carefully how everything sounds like during your gaming experience, if there anything that sounds off to you, what you should fix. And I'm talking like here both about technical aspects, the poor implementation part, or it can be also like conceptual aspects. For example, you understand that some sounds not really work well with the image, like for any possible reason, so you need to fix that. And after you're good with what you hear, you can reach out to audio specialists, like third-party audio specialists. It can be like a friend of yours, it can be just a random specialist out there. For example, our team, we provide like this consultations on game audio for small teams, both complimentary and paid ones. And I believe we are not the only ones out there who do this. So yeah, you just need to reach out and find people who can test how your game sound from the audio specialist perspective. And eventually, like, you need to give the players your game to test, and you need to listen carefully to to what they have to say about it. You need to ask specific questions. If there is a possibility, you can do this like in old days while we weren't all on the lockdown mode. It was really convenient to do this on conferences and something like this. But right now, I believe you still have a possibility to test your game, or like with actual players. Again, you can just go on Twitter, on Discord, and find some people who are willing to help you with that. And you need to ask them about your audio as well and see their reactions and take notes, and then fix everything that you can really enhance in your project. And if while you're developing your game audio, you catch yourself humming like a melody from your game under your nose, or like for days, for weeks, maybe for months, or those people who test your game, they tell you that the music is nice in your project or something like this, then this next and our last step is for you, which is monetize your game music. And I'm sure that each one of you have like listened to some game soundtracks on some streaming platforms, on YouTube, or like at any possible area. And I sure did. Like right now, I'm so into the Death Stranding soundtrack because, first of all, it's beautiful. Second of all, it's so like really packed with those emotions and all these ideas. And for me, as for a marketing person, it's a great case regarding how Kojima Productions, they used their music as a marketing tool. It's a great example. So yeah, by the way, write in the
Ты
chat
уже заканчивается, да.
which audio soundtrack, which game audio you like the most, so it will be really interesting. And yeah, quickly, the ways to monetize your game music, because people love game music and they are willing to pay you for it. You can use streaming services such as YouTube Music, Apple Music, Spotify, etc. You can use Bandcamp, which is better than streaming services. However, it's really much more niche than streaming services because they're like really open for a mass listener. But Bandcamp is really much more predictable in terms of profit that you will gain. And there are even some days when you can withdraw money from there without any commissions. But you can withdraw only to PayPal, so you need to pay attention to that. You can sell your music as a DLC and add-on, like for example on Steam page, of your game. You can give the music to your supporters as a bonus for donation on Patreon or Kickstarter. You can sell your game as a merch, or sell your game music as a merch, like they are releasing physical mediums such as CDs, tapes, vinyls, etc. This will require some additional investments, but it can create a really strong bond with your most loyal audience. And we did this music release thing with Foxtail game and Heidi game, and we are now preparing to release the music for the Heidi sequel, hopefully very soon. And we did this only in digital format, but we believe that one day we will hear our music from a CD or from a vinyl. And to give you an idea about the income you can gather from like such a music release, it's not that big, you know, if you don't have like a strong marketing campaign, like a global one. For these two games we released music for, there are like niche indie games, so actually I can't disclose any numbers obviously, but the income was quite nice for the games with little to no marketing campaigns. And yeah, you shouldn't rely on releasing your music as like a matter to gather like really big income, but this won't make you rich. Okay, if you don't invest a decent amount of money into your marketing, but this will straighten up your image. This will generate your some engagement with your audience and some content to put out there, and this will eventually straighten up the bond between the players and your game, and this is all you basically need. And
Firstly, I would like to turn on my microphone before saying everything about this. Thank you,
thank
Ruslana.
you.
Thank you for joining us. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I encourage everybody just to jump into the GDBAY network platform, just to leave comments for Ruslana, and feel free to leave some comments
And
for.
check out our socials because we post more info on game audio there as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I will be thrilled to see you there as well, and ping me.
Thank you for your
Thank you,
contribution.
Stan.